what do you think are some of the challenges or the most, the highest need right now in terms of AI in radiology? Certainly, we're going through COVID-19 right now, and there's been a plethora of all these, pre-publication preprints being posted on various archives about, AI and CT imaging of the chest, in the era of COVID-19. But maybe that's one of them. But in addition to that, there's some kind of real high priority challenges that you think need to be addressed?
So I'm going to break that into two questions. And one of them, I almost feel like you read one of my LinkedIn posts, because I feel very strongly about this one. Finding COVID on X-ray or CT is very easy. Like we don't need the computers to help me do that. Like, it's either pneumonia or it's COVID, and either way, do something about it clinically. Like it's very worrisome. So like I don't quite see any value, honestly, with that. It's a neat thing to do, and we get some data, and people are sharing it. And the people sharing the data, I love that. That's a great idea. So what I would love to see is collecting the clinical data, the temperature, the onset of symptoms, the risk factors, incorporating the imaging findings, and then predicting how many hours they're going to be on the ventilator, how many days they'll be in the ICU. I would love that, because then resources can be allocated properly, and we're able to know like how bad this outbreak could be. And so I have a pretty long LinkedIn string of collecting people on there to say, if you have the data clinically and the data from an image standpoint, let's start to answer the questions that people care about, like literally how many hours on the ventilator is someone going to be on. So and I'm starting to see people do that too. And so so that's one slice of your question of how the COVID data sharing can be used, I think, to answer questions that people aren't answering at a great scale now. And to be fair, usually radiologists don't think about ventilators. Like I don't know why I would think about ventilator. Really, that's not like my area of expertise. But I spent some time during my career not in radiology. I was primary care for a bit, and so I got to see a lot of areas, and I still think like that. So that's part A of your question. And then part B of your question was, what do I see as like the next need? Like, what do we need in radiology to do it? I personally like MSK. I personally am always nervous with neurotrauma. So I personally would like to see, ways to help me not miss a subtle basal skull fracture. Like those things are so hard to find, and that's not widespread to help me find a subtle basal skull fracture. And I know that there's the tell signs, like, do we see a fusion in the mastoids? Like, so it would be nice to have like a little backup on that. So assistance with acute neurotrauma, I think would be great. And then 2 for MSK, musculoskeletal. So looking at a knee MRI, for example, we have a medial and a lateral meniscus. Those are little bumpers between our leg bone and our shin bone. I see tears and I talk about them, and I tell the orthopedic surgeons what I see, but I don't think we have a great sense of like what actual tears have what actual outcome. And so again, collecting the range of motion from the orthopedic surgeons, and collecting, their type of injury and what sports they played. Like, it'd be pretty cool to say, oh, if you're a soccer player and you have an anterior medial meniscal tear that measures 5 millimeters, we've seen that other soccer players, dun, 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 dun. And we aren't doing that yet. So kind of a combination of real world data, radiology data, and some data science.